Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. If you enjoy seeing my process, please like and subscribe and consider heading over to my Instagram or Facebook, where I upload pictures of my pieces and info on what I've been getting up to. This week I'm using some of the inks I've made previously from Botanical material to paint a practice study of a blue jay. I wanted to try actually tackling something seriously to see whether handmade inks could be incorporated into my work in the future. Because these inks are not light fast, they would only be useful for practice pieces or pieces that I plan to photograph for digital reproduction, and I won't be able to offer originals for sale as they would likely fade quite fast in sunlight. Having said that, I'm very pleased with my initial foray into using these properly. I'm painting on Fabriano Artistico 300 GSM hot press 100% cotton paper, which is a real mouthful. I'm using this paper as I have bought handmade inks from a lady on Etsy previously, and it was self-evident how different the colour was on this paper versus the white paper that I usually use. The main plants at work here are Dendrobium Purple Happiness Orchid for the steel blue I used for much of the plumage, California Poppies for the background wash, red poppy petals with alum for the dark details such as the legs and black bars on the bird, and a variety of things for the twigs including viper's bugloss and blue rose petals. Because I've had a lot of these inks sitting in the fridge over a week, there were some that I couldn't guarantee what colour would come out when they dried. So I mostly used ones that I was uncertain about on the twigs because I didn't care if they came out an odd colour. I ended up letting the twigs dry and then went back over them with the red poppy with alum, which is a purpley grey, to add the details. Once I felt I'd gone as far as I could with the natural inks, I then used sepia and white Bombay inks to add fine details such as the white plumage and outlines for the feathers. The main reason I did this using synthetic inks is because the consistency of the natural ones is quite dilute and not thick enough to get a good line with the brush tip. I chose sepia as my darker ink because it's like a more transparent black and usually ends up grey, meaning it matched the overall muted feel of the piece. I'm really quite happy with how this piece has gone overall and quite surprised at some of the detail that is possible, such as the fine strokes I put on the blue plumage. The natural inks are definitely better suited to painting in base colours rather than detail, which is very useful to know for the future. I really love the muted tones in this piece. I'm usually a fan of big bold colours, so I know that this is not a colour palette that I would have gone for, without the restrictions forced upon me by only having natural inks to work with. There are some fun bits in this piece that only happened because of the limitation of the palette, such as the greenish tinge on the feathers at the back, which resulted from not having an aqua blue to use, so I dropped in some green and yellow to see if I could get an approximation. It didn't create what I was going for, but the effect when dried out gave a lot of shifting colours that looked beautiful. I'm also getting a feel for which plants have yielded inks that continue to give their original colour fairly strongly, with the yellows seeming to be some of the best for longevity. The orange and yellow California Poppies and the peony stamen inks have kept their colour very well. I continued working on this piece off camera as my camera ran out of battery, so please head over to my Instagram or Facebook page if you'd like to see the finished piece posted up. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my ongoing learnings about handmade inks. See you next time.